One. By the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, greeting to all, and really it's my great pleasure to be with you today. And this is my presentation regarding the presentation skills for medical professionals. Do not anticipate that I will give you the details regarding the presentation skills rather than the basics, and I think this lecture will be a prime for all medical professionals to put their foot on the first step on the way to being a talent presenter. And I think it will be a good motivator for all medical professionals just to move to switch from zero model experience to a talent model experience. So do you know how many medical professionals who are more knowledgeable, very skillful in their specialty and well certified, however, they haven't gotten any promotions or haven't gotten any more responsibilities or privilege just because of what? Because of they can't express themselves because of just lack of presentation skills. Do you know the dictum says people who present well seems more professional even they know less. For that reason, people who express themselves well, getting more promotion, giving more responsibilities, even if they know law. So we have to make use of your knowledge. If you can't express yourself, if you can't present yourself, how the other people can make use of your knowledge and skills? And you have to know that the role of doctor has been changed in the last decades, being from a doctor who is just treating just physicians to, instructor. A teacher, you have to teach medical students, to have to instruct them in the clinical rounds. And you have at a time to give a lecture to big number of medical professionals in a local or international meetings. For that reason, the skills, presentation skills, has become an integral part of the syllabus in medical education all over the world. But what? Unfortunately, I think my generation and the senior generation older than me didn't have this opportunity when we were medical students. Presentation skills, unfortunately, was not in our syllabus when we were medical students. That leads really to, this model of presentation. Just now I will model for you this model one. Sorry, I'm nervous. Yes, it's not supposed to be my presentation, just I prepared it last night. Where is the pointer? Yes. Type of variables. A variable is a record of measurement. As the name implies, it varies and it has different values. Types of variables can be divided into quantitative and qualitative. Simply, if the variable expresses number, it's quantitative, numeric, scale, variables, examples, age, weight, height, hemoglobin, creatinine, and such and such and such. Continuous data is expressed by mean and standard deviation. If it's normally distributed by mean. This is the first model. You can see here, there is no difference if I am stay here or stay behind, away. This is the first model. I say it zero model because you didn't give anything new. Just you read. And what do you think? This is the ultimate impression of the audience at the end. Very sad, sleeping, distracted from your presentation because you didn't respect your audience. So just voting now, please. Who wants to learn more about, what do you think about presentation skills now? Not at all. Can you raise your hands? Not at all? Do you want not to learn? So is it not at all or recommended? Who say recommended to learn presentation skills? Okay. Third, who said mandatory? Wow. I think now, okay, I will continue my lecture because if the majority of you says not at all, I will stop. So I think now the majority said recommended or mandatory to learn presentation skills. It was really, okay, so how to switch? How to switch from this model to a talent model. It was me, really, 6 or 7 years ago, when I asked myself this question. And I attended one of the lectures, and I slept over the lecture. And then after I finished, I said, did I present like this presenter? Was my presentation was bad like this presentation? I said, why I am blaming him if I am like him? So at that time, I decided to be a good presenter. You see the turning point in your life sometimes, okay? This is the point that you admit mistakes. You confess area of weaknesses. If you always say, I know everything, I am the greatest one in the world, you will never improve. The point that you have to strike your mind that I have area of weaknesses, this is the point that could change your career. And then I went and collected all the skills required for presentation. Started from English. I worked too much on my English. This is a clear speech. I'm not caring about to speak about American or British accent. I'm not care. You have to speak clear. The audience has not to strain or struggle to hear you. I will not be shy, but I don't have time to just to listen to my English before I took this loans, before this course. But I did it. And then I worked on there is a skills needed to be a teacher. And there is skills needed to prepare your slides. All of those should require you have to take them to be a good presenter. For a clinician, busy clinician like you, I think it's difficult. For that reason, I collected all of those, and we intended to make a short, one day only presentation skills for medical professionals. And then it was a coincidence because I was teaching one of the toughest topics in medicine, the biostatistics, the medical research. And I started this course 6 or 7 years ago, and we did it more than 10 times in this country. And fortunately, by good effort, I was able to move the evaluation from average to, 21 participants gave me A1. All of them gave me A1. Through the whole course, 3 days, they said to me, this is the first time we didn't sleep. Because simply I respected the audience. If you respect your audience, they will respect you. And then finally, I got the first presenter. This is the third time to take it in this country. So now I have to move to another model. I just presented the types of variables in zero model. Now I will be free. Okay, see types of variables. So just first see to the variable. If it has number, it will be numeric. Like what? Give me numbers. Give me examples of numeric variables. Height, weight, age, hemoglobin, yes. And has to be presented with histogram. If the variable doesn't have numeric, it will be non-numeric. And then the second factor is the hierarchy. What does it mean, hierarchy? Senior consultant, senior specialist. This is hierarchy. So like what? Tumor stage, tumor grade. It has represented with this is something named column chart. And then if it doesn't have number, simply it will be nominal, like male, female, female, male, male, female. It's no matter if you change the order, it will be nominal. It has to be represented by pie chart. Okay. And then after that, I will give a quiz. It's not my matter now, just I'm giving you an example of different models. Okay, I wanna give you 30 seconds. I will give you now 30 seconds just to bring the differences between zero model and the talent model, please. What the differences in the terms of presenter and presentation is, declassify, separate them. What do you think first about zero model? We'll start with the presenter. Presenter, in the first model? Hide behind the podium. The second one? Free. Okay, confident. Okay, what else? Did the first presenter use his communication skills? What about the second model? I'm moving my hands, moving my facial expression. This is second model. What about presentation aids? In the first model? I'm just reading from paper, exactly. What about the second one? I formulate them, okay? I filter them, I comprehend them, and I brought them to you. Am I right? What do you love now? Which is the best model for you? Talent model? Agree? Okay. The aim of this lecture, just because it is half an hour, so just I wanted to change the impression from the audience from sad impression to smiley impression. Good? Good aim? Let's go. Okay. Can you read, please? If I put text on the PowerPoint, I think the audience is smarter than me to read. I'm intended just to make this for you. Don't read from the PowerPoint. Okay? I think the audience can read. Read. Why I'm here? Just to read? No. Okay? So reduce the text as much as you can on a PowerPoint. This is my agenda. I finished those. And then read. I will go to those. Okay, so there is a step-by-step stretch technique we developed, just started not only from the point to present, but started from bringing the idea. So the first step is bringing the idea, and then literature review, and then preparing your lecture, and then one day before the lecture, and then start your presentation. This is my experience. 2 days ago, I printed all this paper. And I wrote everything. I wrote the text. I studied too hard. And then just yesterday, I printed it again. And I wrote the text. And I rehearsed it 2 times yesterday. You have to respect your audience before you came to a given presentation. I will not speak about all of those, because you can get them easily and they are in more details. I'm interested today just to understand the philosophy of presentation. You know, the most common mistake of most of the people, they do not understand the difference between written form and spoken form. There are 2 ways of conveying knowledge: written form and spoken form. What's the difference between reading a book and listening to a presentation? What's the difference? If you write to somebody, is it different than to speak to somebody? What do you think? The interaction should be in the second one. Agree. Because in the first one, the reader is active. So, but the audience in most of the time is passive. Agree with me? Okay. Can you give which one has more details? The reading one or the presentation? Yes, you can give more details on writing, more details, but in presentation, no. So let me give you the difference. The difference between here, this model, reading, this writing form and spoken form is great. Number 1 here, the time. There is no limit here. I can read an article in 1 hour or 2 hours in 1 day. But here, the presentation usually has a limit, 30 minutes, 1 hour. People will not give you time. Here, the reader is active, but here, the audience is, most of the time, is passive. So you have to be interactive with them. You have to work more on their attention. And you have to know also the difference between teaching in a small group and large group. For me, there's a big difference. And when I'm teaching a course for 20 candidates, it's easy. Why easy? Interact. Yes, you can interact. You can ask. You can get the feedback. But if you present it to this large number, how you can get this feedback? So there are different techniques. It's difficult to present to a large number of people because you have to work on their attention. If the audience lost their attention, what do you think? Now, I mean, if the audience lost their attention, what do you think? They will not get anything from you. So their awareness to your presentation is my job. As the audience will be aware, they will get your point. And also you have to understand the philosophy or presentation. If this is the point of the lecture and this is the weeks after presentation, most of the people think that the audience will keep all information like this, which is not true. Which is not true really. And this fancy model, I said it like fancy model, usually gives this model. If you give more details, more information in a short time, usually leads to this model. People will forget everything in just a few days. So what's Muhammad, what we can do? It is very difficult model, fancy model, and this is one, it's very sad model. What we have to do? Yes, work in between. So people will forget. This is a truth. People will forget after a given presentation, but we're working on just a message that could stay longer. This is the philosophy behind presentation. Presentation is not to give everything, giving only the outline. Okay, this is the zero model. How do you prepare for a lecture? It is easy. I'm just thinking about a good example. So consider your audience will be your guest, and all of this audience will stop by your house, okay, just for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then you wanted to welcome them. Does it make sense to give every one of the 100 just like 3 or 4 lemons, and then the knife, and the sugar, and then the blender, and all of those, and you say, guys, please help yourself? Does it make sense? Is it okay? Is it a good welcoming from you? It is likely if you give a presentation by this way. I give all information as it is. True? That's true. Okay. However, if I knew in advance I will host 100 or 200 people, I will collect the lemon by myself, I will wash it, I will peel it, I will put it in the blender, I will filter it, and also I can't provide it in an ordinary cup. No, I can provide it in more wonderful cup. This is the talent model. This is the way of preparing your lecture. How do you work on your lecture? Are you going to present it as it is exactly, or are you going to work on it? So I consider working on your presentation is kind of welcoming message to your audience. Okay, so let's move to the component of presentation. So what are the components of a given presentation? 3 components. The simple model, this is a simple model of presentation. Just a presenter speaks to audience. So we have audience, we have a presenter. Okay, but in the last few years, there has a great innovation in computer and presentation aids, PowerPoint, that leads to adding of presentation aids. And really, it has been, although I love PowerPoint so much, but it has been really malused by many presenters. And there is a famous article entitled Death of Presentation by PowerPoint. And if we add here the presentation aids, what is the best model? So you have to keep the presenter in the middle. The presenter has to be in the center between the aids and the audience. This is the best model. However, if you move the presentation aids, or if the presenter moves here, so what does it mean? It means we expose the presentation tools immediately to the audience, which is not correct. Look to this model. This is the famous model of presentation. This is a presenter. Where is eye contact here, please? To whom? Where is eye contact? To the audience or to the computer? To the computer. Is it right? And here the presentation of the audience looks immediately to the presentation aids, which is not correct. Okay, so the first component of presentation is the presentation itself. You have to divide the presentation into 3 elements. You have introduction, body, and a summary. This is the model of any given presentation. You have to start broad, and then the whole presentation regarding one title, and finally a summary little bit broader than the body or the body of presentation. You have to also, should be a smooth landing between introduction to the body. And it could be permissible a little bit to go a little bit far from the whole topic. You can give some stories, some experience, but you have to keep yourself on the track of the title of the presentation. Let's start with the introduction. Introduction has a technique which is similar than writing an article. You have to start with short background, and then you have to go to the literature review. It has been done before. It has been addressed before. You have to bring a limitation. You have to bring an edge. You have to bring a question. If there is no question before, there is no need for your answer. If there is no limitation in previously, what's the aim of your presentation? You have to bring something. I started my presentation today because my generation and the older generation didn't have opportunity for presentation skills. I'm opening the door, I am giving a rationale for my presentation today. You have to find a limitation and you have to work on your limitation, and your aim has to cover your limitation in introduction. Forget about this technique. The introduction has more than what I said, engagement. This is a technique that should be done by all if you wanted to engage your audience. I put here a ring. If you love a woman, you have to give a proposal. And it's difficult to marry her immediately. There is an engagement period. And if the engagement period is successful, okay, you can marry her. Otherwise, she will kick you away. No, it's not. This is the engagement. The audience decides in the first 5 minutes either to continue or to deny your presentation by your engagement. So there are many ways of engagement. The most effective one is giving personal experience, anecdote. But don't say I'm the best one giving this one. It's not okay. Just giving stories from failure to success, from negative to positive, from limitation and the obstacles and how did you overcome them. Those inspire most of the audience to continue to listen to your presentation. And Steve, this is one of the most wonderful presenter. And when he introduced this iPhone in 2007, he didn't say, oh, I came up with this iPhone. But he started first with the limitation. He displayed the current marketing, and he said, all of those mobile phones have keyboards, which sometimes you don't use it. And then I came up with this touch screen. So you have another method of engagement is starting with the current limitation and then cover this limitation. This is another way of engagement. Presentation, you can read please for 30 seconds. You can prepare your presentation by the way you like it, but keep it simple as possible. And those are the headlines. This is different, big lecture, how to prepare, but I'm not interested, but just I wanted to keep less text, more figures. And finally, which is the most important, is the summary. If your presentation doesn't have a summary, don't expect your audience will remember your presentation. Summary has to have bullets, and it works well for long-term memory. The presenter. The presenter is the center of any given presentation. Number one, you have to, and number two, you have to speak clearly. Whatever the accent is, this is number one. And then you have to work on communication skills. Communication skills is non-verbal method of conveying experience, conveying expression by body position, facial expression, gestures, and all of those. So I can say yes, but I can say yes. This is communication skills. I can say no, but I can say no. I can, when I express the kick out, I expressed it with my body position. This is using off communication skills. It's very effective in conveying knowledge or conveying thoughts, even emotions. And then the second one is eye contact. You have to keep eye contact, please. And third, tone of voice. You have to slow, to going down, and then you sometimes going up. You can keep silent, give a moment of the audience to read. You have to change your tone of voice. Finally, smiling. If you are not interested, if you come sad to a presentation, what do you expect from your audience? You have to smile while giving a presentation. And you have to be free. To practice all of those, you have to achieve all of those, you have to be free. And I never ever given a presentation behind this stupid podium because it stopped me and I feel like it works between me and my audience. You have to be free. The audience, the last step, the last component, you have to take care, please, pay attention of your audience. One of the most common cause of failure of engagement is giving a topic not interested to the audience. Could you imagine that I just gave a lecture on Urology Association like 1 week ago? Is it a good presentation to CME activity? It is highly technical urology topic. What do you think? No. So you have to respect the level of knowledge of audience. It's most important in engagement of the audience. And in a summary, so this is the audience. What do you think? We collect. Number one, engage your audience. Know their level. Be interactive with them. So this is your audience. Work on your audience. Know their level. Respect them. Be interactive with them. The second component is presenter. The presenter is the center of any given presentation. Speak clearly, speak slowly, use communication interpersonal skills. You have to move and you have to be free. Number three, the presentation itself classified into introduction, presentation body, and a summary. If I say one word about introduction, it will be engagement. What about the body? It should be informative, less text, more figure. You have to enjoy, you have to give something entertained to the audience. And finally, the summary, it has to have bullets, works on long term. And being a strong presenter will enhance your professional life. Presentation skills are fundamentals to medical professionals. And finally, the aim of a given presentation just to transmit people from denial of an idea to acceptance of an idea. Don't give too much information, just give an inspiring message. And finally, you have to switch, you have to change this impression from sad to smile impression. And welcome, if you are interested more, you can register. We will conduct a one-day workshop on presentation skills for medical professionals. You can follow me on YouTube. Thanks too much, and thanks for having me in. Any questions? It will be my pleasure